Alright, hey, Adam and Eve video. Cool. I liked it. I liked the different angles. My name's Will, by the way. I live in East Amherst, New York. I like the different angles because that is the way that I'm thinking lately, that you get closer to the truth that way, because that allows you to open it up out of the limited framework of a single view or single story. So looking at it from different angles is totally part of the expansion of consciousness, and blah blah blah. So the Adam and Eve story, yes. It's sometimes called the Fall from Grace. That's the name of the story. I mean, that's a way of one of its names, and it means. I mean, this myth is something that I've begun to discern in various traditions and things, thus giving me, and it sort of makes sense and things, thus giving me a bigger view. I'm seeing it from different angles in different things, and the some fall in consciousness is what that's all about. It's about it beginning with oneness, perfect God, whatever you want to call it, that perfect state, and blah blah blah. So, which who can imagine that, right? It's difficult to imagine, but apparently something began that was like a separation from that. But the catch is that it was an illusion of separation, because there is no separation. So it was like a dream that began. It was like illusion added to illusion that began this whole strange thing that is now our world. But it's what in Eastern religions is called Maya, which is illusion. And the process of going back to God is the process of waking up from that dream, that illusion. And the illusion has everything to do with duality. It has everything to do with separation, multiplicity, and duality where none actually exists. That's the general gist of it. Illusion is always associated with duality. Now, you have Adam and Eve eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. What is that? Good and evil is duality. So therefore you have that exact thing. You have the separation occurring, or the apparent separation. Now, the interesting thing about this, which you noted in the video, is that it can be seen as a good thing, like knowledge. Like, there's this whole, alternate interpretation of it in which it's like ignorance is bliss. But we don't want ignorance, we want knowledge, I mean, who wants to be in some blissful ignorance, But that's really interesting, because it's the exact flip opposite of things like Gnostic traditions, which and even and in the Eastern religions, and actually even what Jesus really taught, which is wake up out of the illusion and get to real knowledge of reality, which only happens when you leave duality. See what I mean? So here you've got it's like reversed. You got find out about the knowledge of duality, and it's like, oh hey, I'm waking up to reality. I'm waking up from a blissful dream into reality. Okay, so that got me thinking about that, which is, I think, just wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that's a wrong, and I gotta say, I think that's a wrong interpretation of it. if I had to say, the serpent is the one who suggested it. The serpent obviously symbolizes the devil, and the devil is ego, which is the separation, which is good and evil. Because basically, if you believe in evil, you're believing in the ego. The ego, as a separate thing, is trying to dominate other egos and in some sense usurp the power of God, which is the only real power. Now there'll be some people that may disagree with that, but it's metaphysically totally unavoidably true. Otherwise you've got God warring with the devil that's on par with it, and it just makes no sense. And you've got the whole ego, which is basically insanity. The ego, in a split up world of competing forces, is an experience of insanity, and it's doomed to death. The ego's doomed to death. It wants to be eternal and wants to exist, but it's gonna die. Which is part of the illusion, because there is no death, and that's all. It's all associated, a big associated illusion that began with the illusion of separateness and the illusion of ego. So, eating of the tree of good and evil isn't knowledge. I think it got translated as the word knowledge, but maybe it just meant the idea of good and evil, which is what started it, a thought. It's all thought, and it became it was the thought of good and evil. But once that thought is woken up from, that thought system, the entire universe based on illusion disappears. That is enlightenment, and that is real knowledge. That's when you wake up to reality. So the knowledge of good and evil, he promised knowledge, you see what I mean? The serpent promised knowledge. But does he have knowledge? That's what you should be thinking about. Alright, anyway, that's some stuff to think about. Alright, see you.